Why am I standing next to a log cabin, and where is this log cabin hut located? Stick around. Coming up, I'll explain it all to you. This video brings me back down here to the King of Prussia area of Montgomery County, more specifically Bettswood. I was down here twice already, once on the scooter, and last year I was down here on the e-bike. I believe it was in October. And if you remember my previous video, when I was down here, I explored and showed you the remains of the Valley Forge train station from the Philadelphia and Reading Railroad, or Reading Railroad, which that area was also known as Port Kennedy. While I was there exploring, I thought I might have found a spur that came off of the Reading line and went into the area there. Well, my suspicion was correct. After doing some research and looking at old overhead aerial photos, I discovered that there was a quarry in the area that the spur went to. Not only was it a quarry, but it was a limestone quarry, and of all places for it to be located was in Valley Forge National Park. But this was back in the 1800s, early 1900s, when the quarry was active, and I believe it was well before Valley Forge Park was what it is today. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to take the e-bike and we're going to take a tour over there and see if I can show you where this quarry, this limestone quarry, was. And also, it used to be a contaminated area with asbestos. The area has since long been cleaned up. The quarry, I don't believe, is deep or anything. I believe it might even have been filled in, but Port Kennedy was also the little village that I showed houses of in my previous video when I was there. Those houses that were there were also for the workers of the quarry and everything. So I never thought that there would be a active limestone quarry inside a national park, but then again, it wasn't a national park back in the 1800s and early 1900s. So, and before anybody says anything about, you know, the rules and everything about filming in a national park or national historic places and everything, I have one word or two words: it's nonsense. So I'm going to be riding the bike around the park over there, have the camera mounted on there, and I am going to do what I normally do when I make videos and just ride and show you the area and everything. So let's get mounted on the bike and get this little adventure started today. So this bridge should look familiar. This is where I was at last October and stopped here. Gave you some views of the river, which we'll do again today because it is just so nice out here and you can get some great photos here. Just a great view of the river from here. Got some people over there along the riverbanks and the boat launch area over there, fishing, having a picnic. There's also a guy over there that has a little remote control boat. Zoom in right there, you can see it on the shoreline there. I saw that thing out on the water as I was setting up here and everything, getting the bike ready. So there is a trail that does run up along the Norfolk Southern tracks that goes up into Valley Forge Park. I believe it's called Chapel Trail or something like that. But we are not going to take that trail today, I don't believe. But we're going to go down here to where Route 23 is and take some trails, hopefully, into the park and find where that quarry was located. So I don't see any tracks or any train on the tracks over here. Looks like we might have missed the train that was here, but maybe we'll get lucky at some point coming back or whatever. We'll catch another one. So there is a trail that does run up along the Norfolk Southern tracks that goes up into Valley Forge Park. I believe it's called Chapel Trail or something like that. But we are not going to take that trail today, I don't believe. But we're going to go down here to where Route 23 is and take some trails, hopefully, into the park and find where that quarry was located. All right, we are now in Valley Forge National Park. And I did check the signs just to make sure bikes are allowed on these paths, and they are. So we got to go up here a ways, go into the park, and I have an idea where the quarry was. But my assumption was correct. The park is definitely busy today. So looking at my overhead map and everything, we are getting close to where the quarry was, but there is also one of the encampments up here which we'll stop and take a look at.
Look, I already see ones.
So depending on how many stops I make today and what I all find along the way. This might wind up being a two-part video. But we're headed back here to, I believe, one of the bunker areas. Or a fort. It's called the Grand Parade Trail we're on. So I believe this is one of the forts we're coming up on. So there is another information board talking about this, an advanced redoubt. So it's an earthwork defense system. You can pause the video if you wanted to read that information there, but we'll park the bike here, take a walk inside, and I believe there's some more information about this. So here is information on the redoubt and the process of constructing it. And I guess that's maybe where they had ammunition or hid or something like that. Another information board over here. And it's interesting how they observed one another there. It says here it gives you a perspective of what the view a soldier would have had if they were here looking for the enemy. So we're actually going to do this. There were no trees here at the time, but they do have glass here that would simulate the telescopes that they had back in the day. And you would look down and see the enemy coming from Philadelphia. And then they also had these wooden spikes placed on the outside of the bunker to deter the enemy from trying to climb up the wall that's here. So where the quarry was located in reference to this is just over here to the right, which we're going to go down here and actually veer off and go down the County Line Road, and we'll be able to see where the quarry was. And then this area straight out here in the field, this is where the quarry was located at one time. More specifically, probably down over the hill there. And way over there in the distance, if I zoom in, there's the top of, I believe that's Washington's Chapel over there. So there are many different ways that you can explore Valley Forge National Park. You can ride through the park here to designated parking areas. They have parking areas along the road here. You can walk, you can bike like I'm doing. But definitely a nice day to be out here in the park, because I believe the rain is going to move in here later tonight, and showers on Sunday and Monday, Memorial Day. Here's a better look at the area where the quarry was. And Google Maps showed that there was supposed to be a path going through the field down to County Line Road, which is, the road's closed. But no path there or anything, so we're gonna have to ride out here a little bit and probably catch County Line Road or double back and get on it from where we came into the park. But this is the area of the quarry right here. So I decided to make a stop here at one of these little log cabin huts, get some pictures of it and walk inside of it and show you what the conditions were like in there. Those were beds that the soldiers slept on and a fireplace. That was it. Just this little shack protecting them, or sort of protecting them from the harshness of winter. So this is the national memorial that was placed here to the officers and private soldiers of the Continental Army from December 19th, 1777 to June 19th, 1778. And right in there it says it was erected by authority of the Act of Congress, June 25th, 1910. So while we have some time here and there's not too many people around the monument here, let's walk up inside here and show you some of the information that's on the walls of it. It's one side. This is on the opposite side on the wall. Here's another monument and memorial placed here by the Freemasons, which was dedicated on August 24th, 1997, in remembrance of George Washington and the Continental Army. Here is another monument close by the big monument. And some of this, I believe, is Latin, and I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce some of the names there and everything. So if any of the viewers see this video and can confirm if it's actually Latin words or not, leave it down in the comments. So I made a stop here at two more of these log cabins that were here, and I think this headstone here says it all. It is beyond description to conceive what the men suffer. No truer words spoken than that. And then just down from that other headstone is this one here, talking about New Hampshire. This is just a great ride through this park on these trails. Sort of makes me wonder why it took me so long to get down here and do this. And somewhere down here, I'm not exactly sure where, I'll have to do more research on it. I did see videos on it. I think there used to be a bottling company down here somewhere located just off the grounds of the park here. I don't know if it was called the Valley Forge Bottling Company or the name of it, but there are ruins of that somewhere in the woods here on one of the hiking trails. Might have to do more research on that in the future and maybe come back down here when there's no leaves on the trees and check it out. Oh, this is pretty cool. Although I'm not... See, I'll have to stop here and I'd actually have to take a dirt road to get to it, but we'll show you from the distance here what I'm talking about. So thank goodness for Google Maps and having everything labeled. But that down there in the distance, and I'll zoom in here for you. Now that's cool to see. That is known as Artillery Park. And those are all cannons down there. There is a path going through the field here, so we're going to take a drive over here and check out these cannons that are here. So here is information on Artillery Park. You can pause the video if you want to read about the cannons, but here they all are. So here is another monument, and it was on this spot here. George Washington erected his campaign tent, a marquee, when he entered Valley Forge on December 19th, 1777. He occupied this tent until December 24th, 1777, when he moved his headquarters to the Potts House at the junction of Valley Creek and Schuylkill River, which I'm not quite sure where that's at. Maybe I'll get lucky and be able to find a picture or painting or some kind of thing to insert in the video here to show you his campaign tent. So far since we started over in Bettswood, we are at 4.5 miles and we're at 1 hour and 55 minutes so far on this trip. Some more cannons right there off to my right. Should have been another fort around here somewhere. That might have been it back there. But it looks like if I continue on my present course here, we are actually going to make it over to Washington's Chapel. And I know for some of the history buffs that may watch this video and everything, I'm sure there's things that I'm missing with this place that I'm not covering or mentioning. There's just so much to see here. Little camps and whatnot. And like I said, I'm not even going to bother going into the visitor center. So I may have to bring some friends down here with me if they're interested, and spend a day down here with them. I'm actually in the area of Varnum's quarters, which is right down in there. But there is a big statue behind me, and you history buffs will know what it is if you've already been here. But behind me is a statue of Major General Frederick Wilhelm Baron von Steuben. They have a picture here, or artwork, of General von Steuben drilling Washington's army here at Valley Forge. Most likely might have been right in this area here. So I don't see an information board here at all on this house, but since I made mention of it, might as well show it to you. This is Varnum's house. At least I believe I'm saying the name correctly. And then this over here, right here, is Route 23, which will eventually take us up to Washington's Chapel. So if you've never been to Valley Forge Park, I highly suggest you come down here and visit, and bring a bike, or walk it if you want, but it's a lot of area to cover walking. Make better timing if you're on a bike. I was talking with a lady back at Artillery Park. She was having lunch with her kids there, and she was asking where the National Monument was, and I explained how to get to it and how far it was, experiencing the trails, and she's like, we ain't gonna get to it today. I said, no. I said, come back and bring your bicycles, and she's like, that's what we're gonna do. This is the best way to experience the park. So right before Washington Memorial Chapel is the Washington Memorial Chapel Graveyard, Defender's Gate. And yes, you can see the sign at the bottom there. Cemetery lots available. So if you would like to get buried here at Valley Forge National Park, I believe that could be arranged, but I would imagine it might carry a hefty price tag to get a plot. Or there could be other restrictions on it too, how you get a plot. So it's going to be a little bit noisy here because I'm right along the road, but there's another statue of Nathaniel Greene, Quartermaster General, Valley Forge Major General, Continental Forces. So he was the commander of the Southern Army, and I'll zoom in there. There is the information placard. God, the sounds coming from the church bells there at the chapel sounds so nice. But anyway, just down here from it is a little cabin, and the plaque that's at the top there. On this spot stood one of the huts occupied by the soldiers of Washington's camp during the winter of 1777 and 1778. This reproduction was erected by Colonial Chapter of Philadelphia Daughters of the Revolution, May 1905. So we are not going to go over to the chapel, Washington Memorial Chapel. It looks like there's a wedding party over there, somebody getting married, so we'll admire it from the distance that we did. So here is another information board along the trail talking about the Black Patriots of the American Revolution, and there is a monument here erected in that honor. And then also we're going to head back to there and check out that information board back there too. And although this board has seen better days, you can still read the information on it. This is still talking about the black soldiers and what they did here at Valley Forge. You can pause the video and read all this. Those little pugs back there had to take a break under the shade tree. They look a little tired, panting away, because it is warm out here today. But so far, 12.7 miles we put on exploring the park. Definitely a lot more than what I had planned. And I still didn't get to the area and explore it more, what I originally set out here to do today, and that's the quarry. So, finally made it back to the area I wanted to get to originally. Finally on County Line Road. Guess you could say we saved the best for last, maybe. I don't know. But the road's closed to vehicles, and I saw people walking on this already and riding. So this might not be the best time to come back here to look for this, but indeed I found it. Straight ahead. So hopefully that is turning out on the camera there, but there is the quarry, the limestone quarry, and most likely somewhere on this road is where the railroad tracks were. Somewhere in this area. Like I said, wrong time of the year to be coming back here looking for this, because everything's grown in, but mission accomplished. There is the quarry. So maybe in the fall or sometime I'll come back down here and take a look around here again, see if there is a signature or a footprint of a railroad bed, because I'm looking along here right now and I'm really not seeing anything. Of course, you never know. I could be driving on it. I'll have to check the old aerial photographs again and do some overlaying with the old photographs and current ones and see where the bed was. But if I had to guess correctly, it was probably in this area somewhere. There's a stone wall to my, oh, there's a bunch of stuff there. Would show up better if it wasn't green. But you should be able to see it right there, the metal sticking up at the top. There's definitely a foundation there or abutment to something. So right down in there, you can see it. There's more parts of the quarry. This is about the best location here to show you some more areas of it. Right over there is Washington's Memorial Chapel again, but you can tell by the terrain of the land here that this was part of the quarry back in the day. So we are going back across Route 23, and we're going to go down here through Port Kennedy Village, and we're going to see if I can find the chapel trail. And I have a funny feeling if the trail is accessible and I can get the bike on it, it's probably going to take us back up to Washington Memorial Chapel. So we're here, might as well check it out. So off to my left here is the rails that I found last year when I was here that were probably from the spur that went over to the quarry. But we'll check the signals here. So yeah, there's the signal bridge and everything's red. So I don't believe we're going to get lucky and catch any trains along here. But if this line would be more active during the day, this would be an ideal spot to do some rail fanning. You got clear shot up and down the tracks. All right, so we're going to follow this trail through the woods here and see where it takes us. Maybe we'll get lucky and get up to the chapel. Maybe we won't. All right, he's up in the back there. I heard him trot off. Thought it was a deer at first. But you got to take my word for it. It wasn't a deer. I looked, it was a dog. And not a domestic dog either. It was a coyote. So, that's going to change things a little bit. He's like right up there on through that brush. Just about in the center there, just behind that thick there is where he went. So I do not have anything on me as far as defense goes. But I don't think he's he went on his way. But we are going to turn around from here because I did do some searching, and the path that I'm on here does go up to the chapel, but it looks fairly steep. And then the path that's down here will eventually take me up to Washington's headquarters, where the gift shop is up there, and the well-known Valley Forge train station. But that was just unexpected. All the times I've been up in the mountains, out hiking and exploring, didn't run into a coyote. Come down here to Valley Forge National Park and you run into one. So far, 10.5 miles today, and dropped 1 bar on the battery. Not too bad. I do have my spare one on me because I didn't know how much riding I would do. Nice part, the battery fits in one of my saddlebags. So, little added insurance. So yeah, more or less all these houses here at Port Kennedy pretty much are condemned. They have signs on them to keep out unsafe structure. Although it looks like this one down here, somebody was living in it at one time, because there's a satellite dish up on the roof there. So, but time to head back. It's getting later in the day. So we're just about at back at the Bettswood parking area. So that is going to wrap it up for that video of riding around Valley Forge National Park down there, checking out some of the sites down there and everything, and finding the quarry down there, which of course was the last thing that I found and stuff, but I'm glad I found it. So I will be making a return trip down there sometime in the future, either by myself or if any of my fellow YouTube friends want to come down and take a ride down there. May show up with some familiar faces, you never know. But yeah, the interesting part was running into that coyote down there, which I did not expect at all. But overall, it was a great day for a ride and everything. Thanks for coming along. Hope you enjoyed the ride and everything. And until next time, it's have a ball and do it all. We'll see you soon.